Have you ever felt like life is moving too fast and you're missing the deeper meaning? This is your wake-up call. In this video, we're diving into 23 instructions for life that will change your perspective. These are timeless principles, some practical, some philosophical, that have the power to shift how you approach challenges, relationships, and your own personal growth. Whether you're searching for clarity, motivation, or just a fresh outlook on life, these 23 instructions will give you the tools you need to thrive. Over years of studying philosophy, human behavior, and personal development, I found that true wisdom often comes from the simplest lessons. Today I'm sharing the 23 most powerful instructions that have stood the test of time and can guide you toward a more fulfilled, purposeful life. Here's how this will unfold. We'll explore 23 life-changing principles, from rethinking failure and mastering self-control to unlocking joy in everyday moments. Some of these may challenge what you believe, but each one is designed to help you see life through a new lens. And stick with me until the end. I'll share one instruction that's often overlooked but could completely change how you handle setbacks. Ready to rethink how you live and what really matters? Let's get started with these 23 instructions for life that will change your perspective forever. 1. Why should you get yourself together? Not for some selfish pursuit or fleeting satisfaction, but because the weight of the world rests on your shoulders. And that's not a metaphor, it's a responsibility. You get yourself together so that your life can ripple outward, so that you can stabilize your family, uplift your community, and ultimately influence the world. Responsibility begins with you, but it doesn't end there. This isn't about short-term pleasure-seeking goals. It's not about chasing the next high. True fulfillment comes from embracing the burden you're meant to carry. Because here's the truth, we are built for a burden, and without that burden we flounder. We wander, we feel lost. Life's adventure lies in discovering the weight that fits you, the responsibility that aligns with your soul. That's the challenge, and yes, it's difficult, but it's also the greatest journey you'll ever take. When you lift that weight, when you bear it, you don't just find purpose. You become the kind of person who can inspire others to do the same. And that's how the world changes. One person, one burden, one ripple at a time. Find your burden, carry it, and watch how it transforms you and everyone around you. 2. Life is suffering. Let that sink in for a moment. It's an inescapable truth, one that can't be pinned on anyone else. Life's difficulties, its pains, its trials, they simply are. So what do we do with that? Do we fold under the weight of it all? Do we declare it hopeless and let despair take over? Maybe that's one path, but perhaps that's not the only way. Because here's something worth considering. Amidst the suffering, amidst the malevolence of life, there exists something else. Possibility, potential, not just out there but within you, waiting like a spark yet to be kindled. So here's the question. What would your life look like if you harnessed all the potential you've been given? That's the optimistic question, the daring one, and you can test it like an experiment. Say to yourself, for the next year, I will do my absolute best. I'll meet every opportunity, every challenge, with the full weight of my effort and intention. Not forever, just a year. Then see what happens. Measure it. You might notice something strange. Your friendships grow deeper. Your family relationships strengthen. You're less anxious, less consumed by bitterness, jealousy, or anger. A shift begins. Your perspective changes. Your health improves, physically, mentally, spiritually. What if this experiment reveals something profound? What if it shows you that life's suffering can be met, not avoided, not erased, but transcended through your willingness to fully engage with your potential? It's not about eliminating suffering. It's about becoming stronger than it. 3. Ask yourself this. What are you doing that's foolish? What habits, choices, or patterns do you know deep down are holding you back? Drop them. Let them go. And instead, aim for something worthwhile, something that makes life better for yourself. Why? Because you're worth it. You're worth taking care of. You're worth something. Surround yourself with people who believe that too. People who rejoice in your successes, who stand by you when you fail. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. That way you avoid jealousy, bitterness, and resentment. Put your own house in order, not so the world stops being chaotic, but so you're not cursing the world for problems you might be contributing to. Pursue something meaningful. Do your best to tell the truth even when it's hard. Then see what happens. Who are you really? You're a miracle. Think about it. Humanity has endured 6,000 years of struggle and survival, and somehow, against all odds, Here you are, conscious, capable, faced with the infinite potential of life itself. This world isn't perfect. It's full of suffering, bitterness, tyranny, and malevolence. But within you, within all of us, is the capacity to confront that potential and transform it into something good. That's who we are. Individuals standing as the cornerstone of everything. That's our responsibility. And it's one we can't ignore. We need to know this, to remember it, to act it out. And then we might discover just how far we can go, just how much better we can make things. Because maybe that's the purpose of life, not happiness. That comes later, after the work is done, after you solve the problems in front of you. The truth is, I've learned this. When you face the dark, you begin to see the light. And that light, it's more powerful than the darkness. Each of us is capable of remarkable things. We are consciousness itself, confronting potential and catastrophe, and striving to turn it into good. That's what it means to be made in the image of God. That's what gives us intrinsic value. And that idea that we have intrinsic value, that's the foundation of everything. So we have a choice, to live it out, to find out who we truly are, and to see what's possible. That's the challenge. That's the responsibility. 4. When we examine evolution, its core principle becomes clear: survival of the fittest. The stronger thrive, propagate their genes, and endure through time. The weaker fade from history, disappearing into obscurity. It's a harsh, relentless environment, a trial by fire where strength, resilience, and dominance rule. In such a world, there seems to be little room for gentleness, for delicacy, for the finer, softer elements of nature. Yet here we are. Look around, and you'll find countless examples of these finer qualities still thriving. Soft, delicate creatures, gentle eyes that seem to radiate kindness, modest, graceful movements. It's astonishing, even paradoxical, to see them persist in a world shaped by such an unforgiving principle. Take the impala, for example, a common antelope in Africa. It's a creature of incredible grace and modesty. Look into its eyes, and you'll see gentleness, shyness, and innocence. Yet this delicate being is the cornerstone of the lion's diet, the McDonald's or Wimpy of the savannah. How is it that such fragility survives? When I see creatures like this, I am reminded of something profound. The fact that these finer qualities still exist in our world is nothing short of a miracle, a gentle whisper from God, reminding us of what once flourished across creation. Even the mightiest of creatures like lions show glimpses of this gentleness. Look closer, and you'll find tenderness in their moments of stillness, playfulness in their cubs, and even mercy at times. Evolution speaks only of strength and fitness, of dominance and survival. It does not account for the kindness, the beauty, or the gentleness woven into creation. Yet these qualities persist. They endure as a testament to something deeper, something more profound than evolution alone can explain. They remind us of the balance, the harmony, and the grace that were, and perhaps still, are meant to permeate all of existence. In these creatures, in their gentleness, there are lessons for us, marvelous lessons. Perhaps they teach us to find strength not just in dominance, but in tenderness. To value not just what survives, but what elevates the soul. 5. Throughout thousands of years of human history, a pattern emerges, one we've observed, thought deeply about, and drawn clear conclusions from. The successful succeed, and the unsuccessful fail. But why? What sets the successful apart? It's not luck or mere circumstance. It's something far deeper. The successful among us sacrifice. They give up immediate pleasures for long-term rewards. The successful among us delay gratification. They endure the discomfort of today to secure the promise of a better tomorrow. The successful among us bargain with the future. They make deals with time itself, planting seeds now, knowing that the harvest will come later, often much later. This is the defining principle: sacrifice, patience, and the willingness to trade present comfort for future growth. These are the traits that lead to success. And so the question isn't just about who succeeds. It's about what you are willing to sacrifice, what comforts you are willing to delay, and what vision you are prepared to pursue for the sake of the future. 6. If you orient yourself properly toward God, toward the highest principles, then everything begins to align. This means focusing on the pillars that uphold truth, integrity, and meaning. When you aim yourself toward these pillars with sincerity and commitment, you unlock the ability to truly pay attention to the present, to this day. And if you pay enough attention to the day, carrying the weight of its challenges and its revelations, something remarkable happens. The day begins to reveal itself. Within its moments, you start to see how things might be set right, how the smallest actions, guided by the Spirit of God, can ripple outward to create order and meaning in the chaos. It's about opening yourself to possibility in the highest sense, following the guiding Spirit of God with trust, and letting that orientation shape your actions, your thoughts, and your purpose. Each day will bring its troubles, yes, but also its revelations. And if you truly engage with both, you might find that sufficient unto the day are the answers it provides. 7. The true purpose of memory isn't just to recall the past, it's to integrate the past into the future. A functional memory allows you to bring what's behind you into what lies ahead, so you're no longer trapped by it. It helps you transform the weight of the past into something that informs and guides your future. Memory isn't about creating an objective, perfect replay of events. That's impossible. The past is too complex, too vast to capture in its entirety. Instead, memory must serve a higher purpose. It must align the past with your future vision. If it doesn't, if the past remains unintegrated, fragmented, or unresolved, then it becomes a source of torment. It lingers, coded at an emotional level, haunting you in ways you might not fully understand. It replays itself not as a guide, but as a weight, a reminder of what's unresolved, unhealed, or untamed. To set yourself free, you must process and integrate the past. Only then can it serve you as it should, not as a prison, but as a foundation. 8. In the complex dance of relationships, there's an ongoing, often unspoken evaluation between men and women, a kind of testing that occurs on both sides. Women, for instance, are always observing men, often in subtle and indirect ways. They may even provoke a man, not out of malice, but as a test. Why? Because they want to see if he can control his temper. It's not something people like to discuss, but it's a reality. A wise woman understands that aggression is a double-edged quality. She wants a man who has the capacity for strength and assertiveness, but also the discipline to wield it responsibly. This is critical because in life, and especially in the context of family, frustrations arise. Children, for example, can be deeply provoking at times, and a man who can't control his temper in those moments could pose a real danger. So women test for that. They have to. On the other hand, men also assess women, particularly when considering long-term commitments. One of the key questions they ask, often unconsciously, is whether she has the discipline to commit. This often comes down to the control of impulsive desires. Men want to know that their partner is capable of saying no, whether it's to fleeting temptations, distractions, or the allure of straying from the relationship. For men, a partner's inability to remain committed can feel like a deeper betrayal, one tied to the evolutionary stakes of partnership and legacy. This dynamic isn't about formal conversations or agreements. It's about behaviors and interactions that reveal deeper truths. Just as children test their parents by pushing boundaries, men and women test each other through challenges and provocations to see what lies beneath the surface. These subtle evaluations of strength, control, and commitment are foundational to forming and maintaining healthy, enduring relationships. 9. The opposite of a victim mentality is to accept responsibility for the things that occur in life, sometimes, even to an extreme degree. You can overshoot this perspective, no doubt. It's possible to take on too much, to claim an almost unlimited share of the burdens that arise around you. Dostoevsky once said that every man is responsible for everything he does, and for all that others do as well. At first glance, it sounds like a wild, even impossible claim. Yet, there's a kernel of truth in it. We each hold an indefinite capacity for responsibility, a seemingly endless ability to shoulder the weight of both our actions and the wider world's consequences. But that capacity can be crushing. Being open to infinite responsibility can break you if you try to carry it all alone. This is where the antidote lies. Understanding you are not solitary in this journey. As your responsibilities mount and your opportunities multiply, you must learn to delegate, to share the load with others. By doing so, you acknowledge both your immense capacity and your human limits. In the end, the balance comes from recognizing that, while you can bear great responsibility, you were never meant to shoulder it by yourself. 10. Get yourself disciplined. Not because you want to become some kind of slave to your own routine, but because you want to become a master. These days, even using terms like master and slave might seem outdated or improper. But let's look past that and consider what it really means in the context of your relationship with yourself. When we say discipline, we're talking about developing the ability to act according to your own best interests, even when it's difficult. It's about choosing what you'll do today, not because you feel like it in the moment, but because you know it will pay off tomorrow. Discipline means you can trust yourself to follow through on your plans, stay consistent, and carry out those daily habits that lead you toward your goals. Without discipline, you're left at the mercy of passing whims. You might wake up with the best intentions, only to let them slip away under the weight of distraction, laziness, or fear. But when you build discipline, you create a backbone of reliability and integrity within your own mind. It's about saying, I know what I need to do and I'll do it, no matter how I feel right now. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's not about beating yourself into submission. It's about setting rules and standards that you agree with wholeheartedly. You choose these standards not because anyone else demands it, but because you know they will serve your deepest interests. When you make that choice, discipline stops feeling like chains and starts feeling like a foundation. Think of it this way. You're training yourself to become the kind of person you admire. You're cultivating habits that set you free from regret, from chaos, from the feeling that your life is slipping through your fingers. Instead of being tossed around by every emotion or distraction, you become the guiding force steering your own ship. In the end, discipline isn't about losing your freedom. It's about claiming it. It's about shaping yourself into someone who can handle responsibility, aim high, and achieve what truly matters. Discipline is the pathway to mastery. Mastery over your time, your actions, and ultimately, your life. 11. People lie or remain silent because they believe it will make their lives easier, at least in the short term. They think avoiding confrontation or truth will protect them from discomfort. But the psychological evidence is clear. Avoiding the things that frighten you, or failing to face the obstacles in your path, ultimately works against you. When you shrink back from challenges, when you remain silent in the face of what needs to be said, you undermine the very principle of your own strength. Violate that principle and you become weak. A weak person finds no true security, no matter how many safeguards or pensions they accumulate. Living longer in fear and avoidance is no way to live at all. The alternative is both more demanding and more adventurous. There's a deep-rooted ethos, found even in ancient stories, that if you commit fully to telling the truth, nothing but the truth, your life will unfold in ways you cannot predict. It requires releasing your grip on predictable outcomes and familiar comforts. Yet by doing so, you allow reality to reveal itself as it's meant to be seen, and that leads to the greatest possible journey. This isn't just a whimsical idea. It's a principle that makes perfect sense. Whatever emerges from your unwavering commitment to truth will be the best possible reality you can encounter, even if you can't see how in the moment. The truth ensures that the world you face is authentic, and in that authenticity lies the genuine security, strength, and adventure we all seek. 12. Idols and gods inside each of us compete for our attention and allegiance. They take the form of passions, desires, habits, and attachments that pull us away from what truly matters. Yet, if you turn your attention toward God, toward the highest principle and ultimate good, you can begin to drive out those false idols. You can free yourself from the tyranny of misplaced desires. However, this isn't a process that happens all at once. It's not something you can simply decide to do overnight. Even Christ, when speaking of driving out demons and clearing a house of evil influences, warns that if the place remains empty, it risks becoming overrun again, perhaps even worse than before. The lesson here is that genuine transformation must happen gradually. You can't just strip away all your bad habits, smoking, drinking, or whatever else may weigh you down, without replacing them with something better. If you empty yourself too abruptly without filling that space with meaning, purpose, and virtuous habits, you risk ending up in a desolate state. Change must be steady, patient, and organic. Little by little, day by day, you let go of harmful attachments and replace them with practices that align with divine principles. In doing so, you ensure that the house of your soul isn't just emptied, it's properly furnished, fortified, and prepared for a life genuinely oriented toward the good. This gradual, deliberate approach is what Christ's warning points to. True and lasting spiritual renewal can only be achieved step by step, as part of a natural evolving process. 13. Unless you're willing to be a fool, you can't learn anything new. This is why, in many stories, the trickster appears before the savior. Before anyone can do the right thing, they must first be willing to look foolish. This insight matters when you face transitions in life. Whether it's starting a new job, getting a promotion, or stepping into any unfamiliar role, you'll likely feel like an imposter. And in a sense, you are, because you're new to the situation. You don't yet know what you need to know. This can be uncomfortable. You might feel embarrassed or even ashamed, but recognize that this feeling is simply the price of admission to growth. You are a fool whenever you try something new, yet you'd be an even greater fool if you never tried at all. This doesn't mean you should pretend you know everything right from the start. That's the wrong kind of foolishness. Instead, embrace your inexperience honestly. Acknowledge what you don't know, be open to learning, and be humble enough to grow from your mistakes. By being willing to appear foolish at first, you lay the groundwork for genuine competence and eventual mastery. 14. Try something simple but profound. Stop doing the things you know you shouldn't be doing. Stop saying the things you know aren't true. Just make that commitment quietly and watch what happens. When you refuse to act against your own conscience, you begin to align your behavior with what you genuinely value. You free yourself from the discomfort of knowing you're deceiving yourself or others. It might feel difficult at first. Habits and patterns can be hard to break. But every step you take toward honesty and authenticity strengthens your character. This isn't about grand gestures or massive overhauls. It's about paying attention to the moments that test your integrity. Catch yourself before you speak a small lie. Pause before you choose an action that you know you'll regret later. Then choose differently. Observe the changes as they unfold. Notice how your relationships evolve, how your sense of self-respect grows, and how your perspective on life shifts. The simple decision to avoid known wrongdoing and falsehood can set you on a path of genuine transformation. Try it. Just watch what happens. 15. For those living in extreme poverty, caught in war, or forced to endure severe hardship, solace is a necessary gift. They need compassion, empathy, and understanding simply to make it through another day. But for the rest of us, those who've enjoyed a meal today, who have shelter, health, and the basic comforts of life, what purpose does solace serve if we're not in crisis? Solace is a psychological balm, a way to calm our inner restlessness. Yet if we already have what we need to survive and even thrive, why are we still unsettled? If we're not fighting for our lives, why do we struggle with so many inner conflicts and anxieties? Shouldn't the absence of dire hardship free us to seek solutions, to improve ourselves and the world around us, rather than settling for a psychological soothing that never resolves the core issues? Let's ask ourselves, what are we doing with the advantages we have? Should we simply comfort ourselves, or should we focus on finding meaningful solutions to create a better future for everyone? 16. Imagine someone who avoids making eye contact in conversation. Without that visual connection, they miss crucial nonverbal cues, which makes the interaction awkward. They grow anxious, retreat into themselves, and the conversation falls apart. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of fear and discomfort. I suggested a different approach. Instead of trying to calm yourself down, focus on calming the other person. When you walk into a social setting, pay closer attention to the individual you're speaking with, their expressions, their tone, their reactions. By doing this, you're effectively engaging areas of your brain associated with positive, goal-directed behavior and overriding your anxiety response. What happens when you repeat this process over time? It's not that fear simply goes away. Instead, you learn to become braver. You become more inclined to face other fears as well. In other words, it's not about eliminating anxiety altogether, but about developing the habit of confronting it and building the courage to approach what once intimidated you. 17. The only validation you truly need is God's. You don't need anyone else's approval, because this world is fickle. People might love you one day and turn against you the next. There's an old saying, popularized in stories like Batman, stick around long enough, and you risk becoming the villain. That's human nature. People can change their minds at the drop of a hat. If you rely on validation from people who are so unpredictable, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. That's why you need to lean on God's validation. It's steady, unchanging, and dependable. God's approval doesn't waver with the trends, and it isn't influenced by moods or circumstances. Finding your worth in God's eyes means you stand on solid ground, no matter how the world shifts around you. And 18. When you reward effort after the fact, you train the mind, whether it belongs to a child or an adult, to invest more effort in the future. At the core of our control lies one simple truth. We have power over where we direct our attention and how much effort we put forth. Yes, different circumstances can make persistence and effort more challenging for some, but these two variables remain fundamentally ours to manage. No one else can apply effort for us, and no one else can fully control our focus. Emphasizing effort, particularly the willingness to examine where we've made mistakes is key to developing a growth mindset. It requires us not only to say, focus on effort and analyze errors, but to genuinely engage in that process. When we view growth mindset as a way of connecting motivation to cognition, we transform motivation from a fleeting feeling into a deliberate thought process. Instead of waiting to feel motivated, we link motivation to concrete actions and reflections. This means looking closely at the mistakes we've made, understanding the steps that led to those mistakes, the verbs of our experience, and dedicating more cognitive attention to analyzing those steps than to the emotions they provoke. By turning our focus toward the causes of errors rather than the emotional fallout, we become more analytical and adaptive. Over time, this approach strengthens our growth mindset, making effort and error analysis essential tools for continuous improvement. 19. Purpose isn't just something you find, it's something you create. It's the compass that guides you, the fuel that drives you, and the anchor that keeps you steady in life's storms. Today, we'll explore how to walk with purpose and build a life filled with meaning. Purpose is what gives your life direction. It's not about perfection or having all the answers. It's about having something worth striving for. Your purpose is unique to you. It's rooted in your values, your passions, and the impact you want to make. Purpose gives you resilience. When life gets hard, and it will, purpose keeps you moving forward. It transforms setbacks into stepping stones and suffering into strength. Without purpose, life feels empty. But with it, even the hardest days have meaning. Finding your purpose isn't about waiting for an epiphany. It's about exploring what matters to you. Here are 3 questions to guide you. 1. What do you love? What activities, causes, or ideas make you feel alive? 2. What are you good at? What skills or talents can you use to make a difference? 3. Where can your passions and abilities serve others? Purpose lies at the intersection of these 3. Start there. Purpose isn't just a destination, it's a practice. It's the small, intentional choices you make every day. When your daily actions align with your purpose, you create momentum. Each step reinforces your path. Living with purpose isn't easy. Fear, doubt, and distractions will try to pull you off course. But here's the key. Your purpose doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Every time you choose to keep going, you strengthen your commitment to your purpose. Your purpose doesn't just impact you, it impacts everyone around you. It's the legacy you leave behind, the mark you make on the world. When you walk with purpose, you inspire others to find their own path. Your actions ripple outward, creating a better world. Purpose isn't about having all the answers. It's about walking forward with intention. So ask yourself today, what step can you take toward your purpose? Because your journey doesn't start tomorrow, it starts right now. 20. Transformation is never easy. It's uncomfortable, uncertain, and often painful, but it's also necessary. Today, we'll explore how to find the courage to embrace change, step into the unknown, and become the person you're meant to be. Change feels dangerous because it challenges the familiar. Even when the familiar isn't working, it feels safer than the unknown. That's why so many people resist transformation. It demands leaving the comfort zone, but here's the truth. Holding on to what no longer serves you is far riskier than letting go. Growth requires trust. Trust in yourself, in the process, and in the possibility of something better. Fear isn't your enemy. It's a signal that you're stepping into something new. The key isn't to eliminate fear, it's to move forward with it. Every great story of transformation begins with fear. What defines the hero isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act. Despite it, transformation follows a pattern: destruction, chaos, and renewal. It's like tearing down an old building to make way for a stronger foundation. The process is messy, but it's also beautiful. Each step forward brings clarity, strength, and growth. Here's how to start embracing transformation in your life. 1. Identify what needs to change. What habits, beliefs, or situations are holding you back? Be honest with yourself. 2. Start small. Big changes can feel overwhelming. Focus on one area at a time and take small, consistent steps. 3. Embrace discomfort. Growth happens outside the comfort zone. Learn to see discomfort as a sign of progress. 4. Reflect and adjust. Take time to reflect on your journey. What's working? What's not? Adjust as needed. 5. Celebrate milestones. Transformation is a journey, not a destination. Celebrate every step forward. Every story of transformation is proof that change is possible. It's not reserved for the exceptional, it's available to anyone willing to take the first step. It's never too late to change. The decision to begin is all it takes. The rewards of transformation aren't just external, they're internal. It's about becoming someone you're proud of, someone who has faced fear, embraced growth, and found purpose. Transformation isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values, your dreams, and your potential. Change is never easy, but it's always worth it. So, what's one step you can take today toward your transformation? Because the courage to grow is already inside you. All you need to do is begin. But one, gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. It's the lens through which we see the world, transforming even the smallest moments into opportunities for joy and connection. Today we'll explore how gratitude can reshape your life, one step at a time. Gratitude is the act of recognizing and appreciating the good in your life, no matter how small. It's not about ignoring challenges, it's about finding the light, even in the darkest moments. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. It reminds you of the abundance already in your life. In a world that constantly pushes us to want more, gratitude anchors us in the present. It combats envy, dissatisfaction, and the endless chase for what's next. Studies show that gratitude improves mental health, strengthens relationships, and even boosts physical well-being. It's a simple practice with profound effects. Gratitude isn't just for the good times. It's especially powerful in the hard ones. When life feels overwhelming, gratitude helps you focus on what you can appreciate, no matter how small. Even in challenges, there are lessons, growth, and moments of beauty. Gratitude helps you see them. Gratitude is a habit, and like any habit, it takes practice. Here's how to start. 1. Keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small. 2. Express gratitude to others. Thank someone through words, a note, or a kind gesture. Let them know they matter. Pause and reflect. Take a moment during your day to notice the good around you. Savor it, or turn negatives into positives. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? 5. Make it a ritual. Incorporate gratitude into your routines, like saying thank you before meals or at the end of the day. Gratitude doesn't just change you, it changes the people around you. A single act of appreciation can ripple outward, inspiring others to do the same. When gratitude becomes a way of life, it creates connection, compassion, and a sense of shared humanity. Gratitude isn't about ignoring life's difficulties, it's about seeing its gifts. It's a way of being that transforms your perspective and brings joy to every step of your journey. When you live with gratitude, every moment becomes an opportunity to celebrate the beauty of being alive. Gratitude isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you choose to practice. So today, ask yourself, what are you grateful for? Because in that answer lies the key to a life of joy and meaning. 22. We're taught to fight, to hold on, and to push forward at all costs. But sometimes, the greatest strength lies in surrender. Today, we'll explore the paradox of letting go. How surrendering control can lead to freedom, clarity, and peace. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's about accepting what you cannot control and focusing on what you can. It's about letting go of resistance and allowing life to flow. When you surrender, you're not quitting. You're choosing where to direct your energy. Holding on to the past, to expectations, or to fear weighs you down. It keeps you stuck, draining your energy and blocking your growth. When you refuse to let go, you create a cycle of frustration and stagnation. Letting go doesn't erase the past. It frees you from its grip. Letting go takes courage. It means stepping into the unknown, trusting that you'll find your way even without the things you've been clinging to. But in that courage lies freedom. Letting go creates space for new opportunities, for healing, and for growth. Surrender is a practice, and here's how you can start. 1. Identify what you can't control. Write down the situations, relationships, or emotions you're holding on to that are outside your control. 2. Focus on the present. Shift your attention from the past or future to what you can do right now. 3. Release expectations. Instead of clinging to how things should be, open yourself to what is. 4. Practice forgiveness. Forgive yourself and others. Let go of resentment. It's a weight you don't need to carry. 5. Use visualization. Picture yourself releasing what no longer serves you. Imagine the peace that follows. When you let go, you make room for what truly matters. You free yourself from the past and step into the fullness of the present. Surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that not everything is meant to be held on to, and that in releasing, we grow stronger. A life of surrender isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them with grace. It's about trusting the journey, even when the destination is unclear. When you live with the courage to let go, you discover the strength to move forward and the freedom to embrace life as it is. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means gaining freedom, clarity, and peace. So ask yourself today, what's one thing you're ready to release? Because in surrender, you'll find the strength to rise. 23. Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. This is a reminder that life is a spiritual battle, and you cannot win a spiritual battle with natural strength alone. We all need a power greater than our own, the power of the Holy Spirit. Here's the good news. When you are weak, the Holy Spirit makes you strong. By walking in the Spirit, you rise above the pull of your sinful nature. But what does it actually mean to walk in the Spirit? It means living in a state of total and complete dependence on God. When you walk by the Spirit, you lean on divine guidance rather than your own limited understanding. In doing so, you find the strength, wisdom, and courage to resist the temptations of the flesh. If you trust the Holy Spirit to guide you every step of the way, you will not gratify the desires of your flesh. Instead, you'll discover a life defined by spiritual growth, moral integrity, and deeper communion with God.